So with a little delay, we are entering the final session of this conference, which we can assess already now to be a very successful one, very inspiring days. I attended the opening session and I had some personal feelings about that, and I heard from my colleagues and in the corridors that these were very, very productive 2 days of hard work, and as I heard, also a little bit of fun. So awareness on the topic of marine litter is key, and this conference is meant to enhance exactly this awareness. I have some personal experiences with awareness with regard to litter, marine litter. When I was a civilian servant at the small island of Shahan, people from abroad don't know, need to know where it is, and people from Germany either don't know It's a small island, and I was a nature conservation ranger there. And our task was to protect the birds so that they can sit there and breed in all direction, and that they are not disturbed by tourists. And of course we had to monitor birds, breeding birds, migratory birds, mammals, marine mammals, and flora. And then in 1982, when I did this job, it was the first time that I had the task to monitor the marine litter. So I had to collect the litter at the beach of the island of Shahan, count it, weight it, and everything. And at that time, the people from the neighboring island said they were crazy already in the past, but they are really now running mad. And just 30 years later, this topic of marine litter entered the Rio Declaration last year. And to be honest, I wished that we would have been so concrete in many other issues on the Rio Declaration as we are on marine litter. So this, really indicates how this topic jumped up in the agenda. So what we learned during this 2.5 days is, even if there is there are scientific and information gaps, there is enough evidence to take action urgently. This has been the focus of the conference. We have heard about many successful measures, experiences in different regions and different of the 4 European seas, how to manage the regional litter problems in a wise way. The MSCs, the regional sea conventions, and the private sector seem to be motivated to take action, and we now really have to turn to this action. This means the international level, the EC, which certainly will continue to support the implementation of the Marine Strategy Framework Directive and the member states, of course the regional sea conventions, but also the national and the local authorities. But it's also the task of the stakeholders. The governments cannot organize everything. NGOs, private sector can be involved, and actually they are involved and committed to play their part to solve the problems. One thing became very clear during the last 3 days. To solve the issue of marine litter, we need to take action to tackle the problem from both sides, from the land-based side as well as from the sea sources. Only a combined approach can solve the problem. Regarding the specific use of the conference outcomes, that is the message from Berlin and the revised, finalized issue paper. These 2 papers will serve for the further work at the various levels that are dealing with the marine litter problems. So my thanks goes to the artists. I will come back to that later on, but just to mention it already here, who made our life at this conference also a little bit easy and relaxed. And now I'm going to read out the message from Berlin, also as a starting point for ministers and participants of the high-level sector. The International Conference on Prevention and Management of Marine Litter in European Seas was held in Berlin, Germany, 10th to 12th April 2013. The conference participants, which included a wide area of stakeholders, government representatives, business and regional organizations analyzed the issue at stake, reviewed current efforts and suggested ways forward in order to address marine litter. In particular, the conference participants recognize that marine litter is a growing global environmental issue as highlighted at the Rio+20 UN Sustainable Development Conference. Noted with alarm the growing evidence of the harmful effects of marine litter on wildlife and habitats and on marine biodiversity and environment. Expressed concern at the increasing threat from marine litter to human health and safety, ecosystem services and sustainable livelihoods. Considered the high associated costs, especially for sectors such as tourism and recreational activities, shipping and fishing. Recognize that different materials, mostly plastics, which are highly persistent and remain in the environment for centuries, constitute marine litter, which stems from land and sea-based sources. Underlined with particular concern the problem of microplastics, which are ubiquitous and whether introduced directly or due to degradation of macro litter items, reach even the most remote areas and release harmful chemical substances which may contaminate also the food chain. Recognize the need to better understand regional specificities as well as the sources, amounts, pathways, distribution, trends, nature and impacts of marine litter, including microplastics. The current efforts. The participants recognize and welcome the many efforts currently ongoing at all levels and by a wide range of actors to address marine litter and especially reaffirm the commitment of the Rio+20 UN conference to take action to, by 2025, based on collected scientific data, achieve significant reductions in marine debris to prevent harm to the coastal and marine environment. Recognize the importance of international mechanisms such as MARPOL and UNEP. Welcome the Honolulu commitment and strategy adopted by the participants attending the 5th International Marine Debris Conference held in Honolulu, Hawaii in 2011. Welcome efforts made under each of the conventions for Europe's regional seas to prevent and reduce marine litter, such as developing dedicated regional action plans in order to contribute to the Honolulu strategy. Welcome efforts made by EU member states to address marine litter as part of the implementation of the marine strategy and to achieve or maintain good environmental status in the marine environment. Acknowledge the many initiatives developed and implemented by different stakeholders such as environmental NGOs, local governments and communities, the private sector, consumer organization and research institute to tackle the problem of marine litter. The key principles. The conference participants emphasized that a number of key principles should guide action to address marine litter, in particular the precautionary principle, the polluter pays principle, the prevention at source principles. Priority actions that have been analyzed. Finally, participants consider taking a number of priority actions contributing to the Rio+20 target, to regional action, to national measures and to the EU quantitative reduction targets under development, noting these would also constitute stepping stones towards achieving the goal of reaching good environmental status for Europe's regional seas, such as fully implementing relevant EU legislation, such as the waste legislation and the Water Framework Directive and the Marine Strategy Framework Directive. Promoting the green economy through increased resource efficiency, facilitating sustainable consumption and production patterns, improving our scientific understanding of the sources, amounts, pathways, distribution, trends, nature and impact of marine litter, developing ambitious targets to reduce marine litter at all relevant levels, contributing to raising awareness on marine litter at all levels, and facilitating initiatives preventing waste from entering the aquatic environment, initiating and further developing regional action plans, collaborating with global, regional and sub-regional organizations, encouraging financial support for actions, including environment-friendly cleaning actions that contribute to reduction of marine litter and its impact on the environment, sharing expertise to prevent, reduce and manage marine litter. Participating in networks of stakeholders committed to take action to prevent, reduce and manage marine litter in Europe's 4 regional seas is an environmentally sustainable manner. So the participants will have realized that I summarized a little bit the text because I had the feeling it's already quite long. This was the Berlin message, and so that the participants of the high-level segment will have it in their pockets. We found these bottles where you will have the Berlin message. So don't ask me what has happened to the liquid content. I heard some rumors about that. With that, thanks a lot, and I give the floor to Minister Peter Altmaier, Minister for the Environment.